Hey, sister.
Hey, sister.
Well, we've got something pretty special today, don't we?
We do.
I'm excited. Here we go.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Missy, and this is Real Sisters Rewind.
Join us as we go back to the 80s.
Welcome to Real Sisters Rewind, everyone. Today, we're doing something a little different. Something we're calling a podcast with a purpose. I'm Missy.
And I'm Amanda. We're stepping away from the usual rewinds for a moment to focus on something that is deeply meaningful to us. This idea came to Missy as we were working on our Back to the Future episode.
That is so true. I will tell you, I was actually in the bathtub watching Back to the Future, and I was just enjoying Michael J. Fox and just really thinking about how talented he was at such a young age and how much joy that his performances brought to so many of us. And then I was thinking about the fact that he was diagnosed at such a young age with Parkinson's, and that disease had quite an impact on him. But not just on him, on so many families. And I couldn't help but think back to my own childhood best friend, still my bestie, my soul sister, Dayna Moseley. Because Dayna's mom, I called her Mrs. C, but Mrs. Carol Curtis passed away after a battle with Parkinson's disease.
That's right. And, it's so interesting because it doesn't stop there. Same as you, Missy, my own childhood best friend that obviously, Kelli McClosky. And for our real fans, she was our guest for our Gremlins episode, is also navigating this journey with her dad. Mm-hmm. He is currently fighting Parkinson's disease. He was diagnosed maybe a year ago. I don't know exactly, but not too long ago. And so it just feels very personal to us, which is why we're dedicating this bonus episode to raising awareness and funds for the Michael J. Fox Foundation. And I do want to say that just Miss Curtis was such a part of my life too, growing up, such a sweet lady. And I'm just thrilled that we can do this, in her memory and also for others that we know are dealing with this disease.
Yes, and we are so excited to have Mrs. Curtis's daughter, Dayna, my bestie, with us today to share her story and honor her mom's memory. Dayna, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, sisters. I mean, you're real sisters in more ways than one. Yes, like you said, soul sisters. We've been through so much since I don't have any sisters. You girls are like my sisters. So thank you for including me. And then that means that if I'm like your sister, then my mom was like one of your moms.
And she for surely was. I mean, growing up, she was like a second mom to me.
Oh, absolutely. And boy, do we have cherished memories of her. Missy, when my mom was first, I would say, diagnosed with Parkinson's, but when she first developed symptoms of Parkinson's, she was so young. I mean, she was 28 or 29, and I just can't even imagine, because I didn't know you at that time, right when she was diagnosed.
So she had been diagnosed, Dayna, before you guys moved in fourth grade from Houston to Oak Grove?
Actually, it was about that time, Missy. I think what happened is she started developing symptoms, but she was misdiagnosed. And so during the move, because she was so young, she was like 20, 8-ish.
Hmm.
And at that time, because it was so long ago, people weren't diagnosed at that age
Well,
with
isn't it
Parkinson's.
unusual anyway? Because I think Michael J. Fox was unusually diagnosed, and
He,
he was diagnosed at 29 as
yeah,
well.
that's right. And they actually have something that is termed now as young onset of Parkinson's disease, which means you're diagnosed younger. Because more and more people now are diagnosed younger. And I think I did some research and I found out that it was about 5 to 10% of those individuals diagnosed with Parkinson's fall in the age range below 50. The average age is diagnosed around 60. So that's called a young onset. And so my mom being, so young, being misdiagnosed, she had the symptoms regularly. I remember, and I don't know, you'll remember these too early on because you knew her when she had it early on, and it was her tremors.
I
So
do.
we recognized her hands would, have the tremor, and she would have stiffness and then slow movement, particularly on one side of her body initially. I can remember her like walking up the stairs and one of her arms wouldn't move. It just stayed real steady. And then I remember being like at the kitchen table and she'd put her hand on the table and it would shake just as if she were cold or nervous or her trembling. So so she then got diagnosed. I think I was trying to recall the time frame, and I think it was a year or two that she was misdiagnosed. And then I remember as soon as she got diagnosed, she went on her medications, and she didn't let anything stop her. She was on
No,
the
she did
medications
not.
and she kept going. And thank goodness she was active. She was an active person, meaning she loved to exercise. She walked. She also did water aerobics. All of that exercise is so important for all of us, but
Yeah.
especially for people who are diagnosed and have Parkinson's disease. So,
Dana, you were talking about her symptoms, but Amanda, Kelly's dad has a different set of symptoms, right? Like
Yeah, I was
this
going to
disease
say,
has a lot of different ways that it manifests itself.
yeah, I was going to say, I think it's important to say that just as an awareness, because I always thought that Parkinson's, like in my mind, that equates to the tremors, which I know is very
Right?
common, but that's not the only manifestation of Parkinson's. And
and
so that was really interesting to find out. It can also have to do, like you said, Dana, with just slowing movements and loss of balance and other things that you may not think of as Parkinson's can also fall into that category. And I know like you said, with the exercise, and that's something that Kelly's dad is really attending to and working out, exercising, and going to classes for that, and it's really important.
even boxing now, I know there's a boxing class
I've
for
heard about that.
Parkinson's.
Yes.
I
Yes.
know. And that came like more recent than it was after my mom had even passed away. I don't know if she would have done the boxing, but
Oh, she
it
would have
just,
done the boxing.
she probably would have
Yeah.
tried.
Hey,
She
Dana,
probably would have
I
tried.
was going to share a story with you. I don't even know if you know this, but we had a friend that moved in our high school years to Oak Grove that went to high school with us, Stephanie Pickering. And I can remember when she met your mom. Of course, she didn't know that your mom had Parkinson's. I mean, your mom was just living life then. But I
Totally.
remember she said to me, like, Dana's mom is so graceful. She moves so slowly and beautifully. And I said, yes, she does. And she is beautiful and graceful in her movements. And then I told her that your mom
Oh,
was living with Parkinson's. And I just remember that so vividly because she was such a woman of grace.
oh, she was. She loved, like you said, to just enjoy life, have fun, and cut up. She was always making some kind of a funny, I was going to say a
Totally.
line cut,
She was a
but
hoot.
Yeah, like in my mind, when I think of your mom, I completely think like I just joy comes to my mind. She
Yes.
was always just such a light, and I knew she had Parkinson's, and because of course my mom explained that to me, and so I understood, but she was just always such a light, and I just remember thinking like that's not getting her down.
no.
Um it's really incredible. Yeah, I see that in my mind, just the joy from
She
her.
Yeah.
always wanted to be a part of the fun, and she never wanted people to treat her any differently. She
Right.
always wanted to just go with the flow, do what everybody was doing, have fun. And then, of course, as I mentioned, her symptoms early on, of course, as she aged, because my mom lived with Parkinson's for over 40 years because
Amazing.
she was diagnosed so young. She passed away at 70, still fighting the good fight. But her symptoms changed over the 40 years, of course. And she experienced things like, there's a depression that is
Mhm.
associated with Parkinson. So she went through that, anxiety. She also, of course, had lots of um, confusion. So some of the mental aspects that are associated, as well as like her speech. So going to physical therapy and speech therapy were so important. And then later on, there are things that are associated because it is a neurological disorder. Sometimes people think of it as a movement disorder, but it has both areas are impacted. So she, once again, although she had all of those complications, she still managed. I mean, all the way through the end. She was just a person who didn't want to stop, and taught me so much about life through her disease and situation, about always wanting to just have fun, smile. Amanda, you said joy, and just continue to be the person that is always looking for something good, always looking to keep going,
The
always looking for
perseverance.
activity,
And
perseverance.
optimistic
Yeah,
perseverance.
perseverance,
Optimism.
optimistic. Yep.
Yeah.
She's not letting anything stop her. So
Dana,
that,
there's one thing I was just thinking about too that, you mentioned that she was diagnosed when she was 28. Well, not that she was diagnosed, that she had
uh,
symptoms, but she was misdiagnosed.
yes.
And thinking about what a scary time and maybe probably frustrating time that was for her, knowing something's not right and not being able to
Mhm.
figure out
Yeah.
exactly what that was. And that's one of the things that is so exciting to me about the Michael J. Fox Foundation and being able to raise funds for this organization, because I know that we've come a long way since she was 28
Yeah.
and was misdiagnosed. And I know there have been a lot of advancements since then. And so that's one of the reasons I'm so excited that we can partner with this foundation to continue that work and research.
That's
It's
right. We're
exciting.
not just sharing stories, right? We're taking action. And our goal is to raise 1,000 plus dollars for the Michael J. Fox Foundation. And we would love for you, our Real Sisters Rewind community, to join us in making a difference.
Yes, that's right. And we have set up a Real Sisters Rewind fundraising page. It is give.mycaljfox.org/Real Sisters Rewind. And you'll find the link in our notes and on our social media, our show notes and our social media. So let's turn our nostalgia into action.
Yes. Dana, is there anything else that you want us to know as we kind of begin wrapping up about your mom?
I think the main thing is just something that she always shared with me is, of course, we can all look at what could potentially cause Parkinson's, but we don't know. There's no final verdict on the cause. And of course, there's no cure. And so she always just encouraged me as I, was a part of starting fundraisers or doing the marathon and raising money for research. The Michael J. Fox Foundation is truly known in the world for its massive research. And today there is some active, I just got a newsletter today about progression that's being made with the biomarkers, the image scanning, like every day. So I live that out. I remember saying that, Missy, I don't know if you recall, but in my mom's eulogy, that's a passion that I have to pass that on to others. Like there's no
Yes.
cure for Parkinson's, but we can all do something. And so I just want to say thank you to you ladies for helping because every dollar matters. So for helping find a cure. And I think that joining you on this journey is an honor, and I appreciate it so much for the fun, the passion, and the purpose. That's where God led and you obeyed. And so I know things, great things are going to come out of this, whatever it is. So thank you for all you do and letting me walk this journey.
We love it.
We're
And
thrilled.
Dayna, just thinking about talking about the Michael J. Fox Foundation and Michael J. Fox, he kind of is like your mom in the way of just not going to give up and not going to let this get him down, and the perseverance and, I'm going to keep acting and I'm going to keep living my life. And really, really an amazing example.
Yeah, I admire him so much. And his wife, we didn't even mention caregivers.
The caregivers, the support system.
Yes.
My goodness. And I've gotten to live that out and watch you, Dayna, over the years as you were, or as you and your family were that for your mom. And, what I want you to know is her legacy shines so bright in you. You live life to the fullest, and you live life in a way where you want to make the actions that you take matter. And so I just want to thank you for allowing us to do this, and also thank all of our listeners who are going to support this cause, because Mrs. C would have loved this, right? And I know that, Kelli's family is going to benefit from the generosity as well. And you said this, Dayna, every little bit helps, right? Whether it's 50, 500. We're going to ask all of our real fans to consider starting out this year with a generous heart.
And generous is different for everyone.
It is. It absolutely is. And so, Dayna, we're so grateful that you could join us today and share your story. And you know what, sister? I think we have to ask Dayna to be on an upcoming Real Sisters Rewind episode. What do you think?
Absolutely. Well, because we've already told 1,000 stories about her and have 1,000 more to go.
I was going to say so many more to go.
Many more to go. I was when you were talking about your mom, your sweet mother, and we were talking about her memory, and my sadly flashed to the memory of the story you told Missy when you and Dayna had the party and y'all's family portrait came crashing to the floor. Anyway, so we definitely need to have Dayna on. And I actually, in my mind, have an idea for what we should ask her to come on for.
I do too. We'll talk about it on the side. Dayna, are you up for coming back and doing like a Real Sisters Rewind with us?
Joining the Real Sisters anytime. I would love it. Y'all are so fun. I would never say no to that.
Yeah, it would be awesome. Well, thank you, Dayna, so much for being part of this special mini episode, a podcast with a purpose.
And thank you to all of our listeners. Together, the Real Sisters community can make a real difference. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, Dayna. Love you.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.